Network. Because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Welcome to our show today. It is Friday, October 23rd, 2020. Thank goodness it's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. We have a lot to talk about today. And of course, in hour number 2 is the lovely Lady Claire. Mike is in our control room, twiddling the dials, keeping us out of trouble. We're going to do the news until we run out of news. Then we'll open the phone lines for your comments, questions, observations, and opinions. And before I get into the news, I have a quote. This is from Theodore Roosevelt. And the quote goes, "It is not the critic who counts, nor the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat." And again, that's Teddy Roosevelt. And as I was watching the debate last night, that quote kept running through my head. And I was looking at the screen and say, Trump is the man in the arena. He's the president. He's the one who, for the last 3+ years, has been dealing with all of the problems of the United States of America. And Joe Biden is the critic. He gets to sit there and pass judgment. He's the armchair quarterback, safe from the dust and the blood of the arena itself, claiming that he could have done so much better and will do better if he's just given a chance. Frankly, I want to go with the man who's already got some experience in the job of being president. Okay, so the debate was last night. The last debate of this presidential season was last night. Actually went off a lot better than the first debate. The moderator, Kristen Welker, did a really good job. Yes, she was biased, but not quite as obvious as the first debate here. And it was a lot calmer. Trump stayed composed. And both sides were very much contained, and it was a lot calmer. And the coronavirus pandemic was a hot topic, and Trump seemed to come out on top of that one. And I think that's bolstered by the fact that just now, Joe Biden held a press conference in which he tried to reiterate or update or alter his coronavirus policy and his promises for a Biden administration. So he's trying to get a do-over for his side of that part of the debate. Not going to work. It's middle of the day. Hardly anybody's going to see it. I'm sure there'll be experts on the evening news tonight. But it almost felt like Biden was trying to play catch up at that point. Now, an interesting thing is a lot of independent observers, a lot of focus groups, a lot of online polls show Trump winning the debate hands down. But interestingly enough, the professional media polling organizations, the same ones that insisted Hillary was going to win in 2016, are all saying that Biden won last night's debate. So they are really pushing pedal to the metal, trying to get their boy in, because if Trump wins re-election, I think we're going to see a little bit of vengeance coming back, not just to the social media, but corporate media as well. So this article's out of the Political Insider, and it says it's interesting to note when a debate is fairly moderated and the tough questions also go to Biden, the president wins hands down. The citizens of Nashville certainly think so. And as a matter of fact, a lot of them gathered outside the venue after the debate was over with their Trump signs and cheering him on. So at least within Nashville itself, which is just yonder over that way, he came across very well. Now, Chris Wallace, who moderated the first debate, is admitting he's jealous of Kristen Welker and wishing that he'd been the moderator of that third debate. Well, too late, Chris. You had your shot. your shot at it here. Interestingly enough, story coming on out of Damagood.com, President Trump's approval with black voters soars to 46% after debate win over Joe Biden. That's a very significant jump. And we're starting to see a lot of post-debate polls come on in, and Trump is definitely moving ahead here. Now, one of the most embarrassing moments for Joe Biden came during the segment talking about energy and fracking. And, Trump pointed out that Joe Biden has said in the past he supported banning fracking. And Biden said he never supported a ban. Trump said, you said it on video. And Biden said, go ahead and post the video on your website. I dare you to prove it. So Trump did exactly that. And there is a new Trump commercial out there right now that has several shots of Joe Biden on video saying that he was going to ban fracking. So, yeah, well, Joe, it's what you wanted. Joe Biden says he would end the oil industry. And there are videos to back that up where he says he wants to see a United States that doesn't use oil and gas. Well, Joe, everybody's been talking about that on the liberal side for a long time. But what would you propose, as a substitute? Cow droppings? Even the electric vehicles that the liberals are all buying and driving in the belief they're working for the environment, they're still, for the most part, fired or charged rather from coal and gas and oil-fired power plants. So anyway, Biden said he would transition from the oil industry. Trump replied, that's a big statement. And Biden said, yes, it is a big statement. So there they are. Now, Biden is already working, trying to clean up the debate comments on closing down the oil industry, and he's out there insisting that workers won't lose jobs. Well, that's impossible. If you're closing down the oil industry, the oil workers are going to lose their jobs. There is no other way around that. And again, he's playing catch up, both with this and the press conference he just had about the coronavirus. He's realizing that some of the stuff that he said last night did not go over very well. And he's trying to play cleanup. But I think the damage is already done. So the Biden campaign is trying to walk back his remarks about the oil industry. And apparently Biden has made more confusing remarks that people can't figure out. I noticed on his press conference regarding coronavirus, it was very obvious to me that he was reading from a teleprompter. Because he kept inserting pauses into his speech in very inappropriate locations, which is a dead giveaway here. Now, there was the post-debate focus group of undecided voters put together by Frank Luntz. And when the question was asked, who would be better for the economy, every single hand in the focus group went up for President Trump and none for Joe Biden. All righty. So we ran our own. By the way, Drudge Report once again did not have an online poll who won the debate last night, but we did. Who won last night's presidential debate? And the results, last time I checked them, was Trump 95% and Biden 5%. And that's an even more lopsided result than we got on the poll for the first presidential debate. So Trump's pulling back and being more presidential, and he was. He came across as much more presidential this time, did definitely work. All right, getting on over to the scandal that everybody wants you to forget. The corporate media is still out there trying to bury the story of Hunter Biden's emails. BuzzFeed is out there claiming that the Hunter Biden emails were stolen without any evidence whatsoever. Now, the law of the land is very, very clear. There is no legal right to privacy regarding abandoned property, and that's exactly what happened. Hunter Biden took this laptop, he actually took 3 of them, to this repair shop, and he left it to be put back in working order. When the repair shop called him to come pick it up, he didn't pick it up. He didn't pay for the repair. It went past the deadline, at which point the computer store said, this is now abandoned property. That's when they looked in it, and whatever they saw prompted them to call the authorities. Okay, story coming on out of Zero Hedge. There's a new blockbuster report about how the Biden family was compromised by China. And some of the emails are showing that Hunter Biden knew some of the people they were dealing with in China were Chinese intelligence. And apparently they were not at all concerned about that. But it underscores the fact that this relationship between the Bidens and China represents a threat to our national security. You know, how the Bidens have been compromised by the Communist Party of China. Okay. Tony Bobulinski is a former Biden associate. He held a press conference, which hardly anybody showed up to, I might add. And he basically said that a Chinese company gave $5 million non-secured forgivable loan to the Biden family. Now, the other day, Joe Biden came on out and said, look at my tax returns. They prove I'm not getting any money from anybody. Little wrinkle that you may not be aware of, the proceeds from a loan are not taxable. And so they wouldn't show up on his tax returns. All right. And with all of this talk about money laundering going on, it's entirely possible, in fact, reasonable to be expected that a lot of the money that was flowing from, let's see what the list is now, Romania, Russia, Ukraine, China, and who knows who all else, wound up somewhere where the Bidens can get to it, but not have to pay taxes on it. So a 2017 email from a top official of the Chinese energy firm provided by Tony Bobulinski to U.S. Senate investigators demonstrates the terms of the agreement, where the firm gave a $5 million forgivable loan to the Biden family. So that's how this stuff gets done. Anyway, Bobulinski had a press conference. The videos are all over the independent media. We even had a link to it from whatreallyhappened.com. Meanwhile, of course, CNN, MSNBC, and all the others, they just decided it wasn't, worth showing up for the whistleblower. NPR is still refusing to touch the story at all, saying it's a complete waste of time here. All right, newly surfaced court documents and emails are shedding fresh light on the relationship between Russian billionaire Elena Baturina and a consortium of business partners that included Hunter Biden. Now, John Galanis, who's got a history of white-collar fraud convictions, has alleged in a court filing that his son Jason worked with Biden and their partner Devon Archer to help Baturina launder money through the U.S. financial system. Now, Galanis is serving a 10-year prison sentence for a fraud scheme that involved Hunter Biden associates. He was previously released early from a 27-year sentence for another fraud and has faced similar convictions. We've got another insider flipping on them here. Okay, getting on back to Tony Bobulinski, one of the highlights of his press conference is he held up 3 separate cell phones, saying these cell phones, basically contain the proof of everything that he was saying. And he's turning it all over to the FBI, which means we're not likely to ever see it again, sadly. But again, the hard drive is out, and Rudy Giuliani has it. The New York Post has it, and it's definitely out there. Now, this is a huge story that's coming on out, and it's from the Gateway Pundit, and it goes back to something I said earlier in the week about how these gigantic crime families operate by giving out little tastes, piece of the action to everybody else around them. So according to this new story from the Gateway Pundit, there are new emails from Steve Bannon. He's releasing more of the emails showing that President Barack Obama was brought into the Biden schemes. Okay? So he was making money off of this as well. And again, that explains why Obama is out there talking to empty parking lots, trying to campaign for Biden. Because if Biden goes down for this, it's going to splatter a lot of people in Washington, D.C. It's like that old statement, when the feces hit the ventilation system. And another story along the same lines here. This is from the National Pulse. Apparently, the Clintons accepted somewhere up to $100,000 from Hunter Biden's Chinese energy firm. And apparently, it's another surfacing email, which went to Hunter Biden and basically came on out to CEFC China Energy and their deal they were making with the Bidens. Now, Hunter Biden described a 3-year consulting contract he inked with CEFC, basically earning him $10 million annually for introductions alone. You know, there it is. He was selling influence. And apparently, Hillary and Bill Clinton, through the Clinton Foundation, accepted up to $100,000 from the company as well. Now, Senate investigators are demanding that Hunter Biden turn over a whole pile of evidence following all the bombshell emails and text messages, which appear to show that he and his business partners engaged in an international influence peddling scheme while Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, according to CBS News' Catherine Herridge, who brought receipts as usual. So the Senate is demanding all these records, wire transfers, travel records. They're definitely getting into this. And the Democrats are scared. And you can tell how scared they are by the fact that Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Ron Wyden called on the FBI yesterday not to investigate the Biden crime family before the election. And these two senators came on out with what has to be the most bizarre rationalization, saying that an investigation into the Biden family could undermine the rule of law. That doesn't even make any sense. And there's a lot, in Hunter Biden's, background. We ran a flashback story. This is from Indians.com, and it's from some years ago, back in 2016, where Hunter Biden's name was used to legitimize the sale of fraudulent tribal bonds. And they bilked investors of more than $60 million. So it's just something that he's been doing. And Joe, of course, is going to insist he knows absolutely nothing about whatever. Okay, looking at ABC, CBS, and NBC, in 51 hours of news coverage, they mentioned the Hunter Biden scandals for a total of 14 minutes. And apparently, ABC spent 0 seconds on Hunter Biden. NBC spent just 5 minutes, 2 seconds. And CBS led the broadcast networks with 9 minutes and 13 seconds. Rudy Giuliani's film debut is getting more coverage. And they're continuing to insist that it's real, that he had his hand down his pants, and which if you're tucking in your shirt, yes, that's exactly what happens here. Now, I mentioned before the band in Boston, or the Barbra Streisand effect, and social media is trying to kill the Hunter Biden story, and it has backfired on them tremendously. It is the most read story on social media, despite the attempts to kill it. The story is all over. It's on independent media websites like whatreallyhappened.com. It's over at Republic Broadcasting, and everybody wants to see what is the fuss all about. And so, behaving in this very heavy-handed fashion, they destroyed their own credibility, and they turned a minor political scandal into a major breaking story. And we're still not even getting into the aspect about the child porn. Okay, now Kamala Harris' husband, Douglas Emhoff, was speaking to a room full of supporters and made the following comment. He said, "I am married to the next president of the United States." Now, that is a really, really weird one. Okay, we're coming up here on some commercials, and we'll be back with more news after these few words. So stay tuned.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. We'll plant 'em anywhere you like and blow up anyone. Whip this world into a frenzy, killing babies, dads, and moms. If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. If you got the money, well, we won't say we did. The towers in
Welcome back to our show here. And again, a friendly reminder and a nudge in the ribs that Republic Broadcasting Network is in the middle of a perpetual fundraiser. We do not have large corporations or insane billionaires pouring money all over us. So we rely on you, the listening public, to keep us going. And I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to those of you who have donated, because it really has helped to make a difference. I wish I could say it's enough. It is not. We still need the help of those of you who have not quite yet donated. And it doesn't have to be a big donation. There's no such thing as too small a donation. Every little tiny bit is going to help. And, you know, this is Friday night. Maybe you could skip ordering a pizza and send the money to Republic Broadcasting, which would make Republic Broadcasting a little bit bigger and your waistline a little bit smaller. So once again, the postal address to send a check, money order, or if you prefer anonymity, cash, is Republic Broadcasting Network, 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas, 78664. The phone number where you can make a credit or debit card donation is 800-724-2719, extension 3. The network thanks you. Okay, getting on back to the news here, we're going to talk about COVID-19 for a little bit. The FDA has granted approval to Gilead's remdesivir to treat COVID-19. Unfortunately, there is data from an international World Health Organization study raising serious questions about whether it actually works or not. And, you know, it was an antiviral originally developed to treat Ebola, and they've approved it for the treatment of COVID-19. Now, this is the first drug approved for treating COVID-19 in the United States, and the World Health Organization data is saying it may not actually be all that effective. The FDA granted the drug emergency authorization last May, allowing hospitals and doctors to use the drug, even though by all accounts it isn't that widely used. I know they used it on Donald Trump. He received one course of remdesivir along with several other COVID-19 therapies after he got the virus. Doctors also gave Trump dexamethasone, a steroid that has a much better track record for treating the virus, according to the available data. Trump also received an experimental drug from Regeneron, which, along with Eli Lilly, has filed for emergency approval for use. Okay. Now, let's go to the international news here. There's a lot going on over there. Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, Gilad Erdan, has claimed that textbooks used by schools run by the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees in the Near East contained insightful content. So in discussions with UNRWA's chief, Erdan said the agency was allowing an infrastructure of incitement in its facilities, including the school curricula. And so now they're attacking the UN schools for trying to educate the Palestinian children. Over in Iran, they are getting ready to import North Korean missiles as part of a 25-year military deal with China. Now, following the end of the United Nations embargo on Iran buying and selling weapons, that expired on the 18th. The rollout of the military component of the 25-year deal between China and Iran will begin next month. And apparently, Iran is impressed with the North Korean missiles and wants to have some. Okay, now we have been watching this closely, but over the past 2 years, the United States has dramatically increased the number of U.S. Navy aircraft carriers and destroyers sent into the South China Sea. They claim it's freedom of navigation exercises. It's actually a show of force to remind the Chinese government that the United States government considers the Western Pacific and South China Sea as part of the oceans of America and its allies. Well, then we ought to call it the South American Seas as opposed to the South China Seas. And apparently the Trump administration ratcheted up more tension with China by sending to Taiwan the highest ranking U.S. officials in over 40 years. The Chinese government has responded with the largest naval exercises in its history and sending flights of 18 aircraft to the edge of Taiwan's air defense zone. China is now talking about sanctions in response to the U.S. weapons sale to Taiwan. Russian President Vladimir Putin said yesterday there is no need for a Russia-China military alliance right now, but noted it can't be ruled out for the future. And his statement signals deepening ties between Moscow and Beijing amid growing tensions in their mutual relations with the United States. And Putin also made a strong call for extending the last remaining arms control pact between Moscow and Washington. Now, last we heard, Moscow had conceded one of the U.S. demands to extend the START treaty for a year, and that it was going to go forward. But who knows what's going to happen. Okay, we got to take another break for commercials. We'll be right back after these two words.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website, by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We have a special promotion going on at Republic Broadcasting. This is a fundraiser for Republic Broadcasting involving the Energy Cleaner. Mail me a postcard. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. We pick a postcard every other Thursday. When your postcard is drawn out, you get to buy an Energy Cleaner for $215 instead of $285, $70 discount. $200 goes to Republic Broadcasting. You also get a 10% discount on my mattress pads. So get those postcards in, put your name, your telephone number, your email address on there, and when your postcard is drawn, you get to get an Energy Cleaner for $215 instead of $285. Mattress pads, 10% off. Help us out at Republic Broadcasting and help yourself to get an Energy Cleaner at a deep discount. It's a win-win situation for everybody. We hope you can get these postcards in soon. Thank you very much.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company? And it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks.
When pigs fly,
The new Ease Off Model Easy 4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The Ease Off lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the Ease Off? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my Ease Off?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry because we are offering $200 off on the new Easy 4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows too. Ease Off LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go ahead and open up the phone lines here. Area code 512-248-8252. And while we're waiting for the lines to light up, get on back to the news. The United States Navy is going to start equipping its attack submarines and all of its destroyers with hypersonic missiles in a bid to face what's called the mounting threat posed by China in the Pacific. The service will first be installing the weapons on the Virginia-class attack submarines, then on its new Zumwalt-class destroyers, before finally mounting the missiles on all 3 tiers of its Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. So it's the age of the hypersonic missile. Unfortunately, Russia and China's hypersonic missiles are a little ahead of the U.S. hypersonic missiles. We'll see what happens with that one. Okay, the tiny nation of Palau has invited the United States to build a military base on its territory. It's a sign of how the Pacific is once again becoming strategically vital as countries choose to align with either Washington or Beijing. Can you hear the war drums beating in the distance? And few people in the West are likely to have heard of Palau, which is an archipelago in the western Pacific Ocean. It's located close to Papua New Guinea and the Philippines. It boasts a population of only 17,000 people, less than the average small town. But these islands may seem irrelevant in the world of contemporary politics, but their location is geopolitically significant. All right. All righty. This was a little bit out of order. Senate Democrats are filibustering the Republican COVID-19 relief bill, insisting on the multi-trillion-dollar House bill. They're still fighting back and forth, but with Nancy Pelosi out there trying to get the $2.2 trillion Democratic bill through, which sends the money not so much to ordinary Americans who are suffering under the coronavirus, but to democratically run states and cities that are hovering on the edge of bankruptcy due to mismanagement. The other part of this bill that is really unacceptable is they're making changes to the election laws, which has got nothing to do with COVID-19 or the economy, but Pelosi is jamming it through there in the hope they can have some last-second changes to election law ahead of the election. So in a strict party line vote, the Republican Amendment 2652 failed to get the 60 votes required to overcome the filibuster. And basically, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said if this relief does not pass, it will be because Senate Democrats chose to do Speaker Pelosi's political dirty work rather than stand up for struggling people. And that's exactly what happened. They don't care about you. They're just out there playing politics. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a phone call. Joe in California. Hello, Joe. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Mike, it's a great day in America.
Okay.
I think Trump today clinched the election, his re-election. Sudan and Israel have come to terms on a peace agreement.
Yes, I saw that.
Fantastic news.
Okay.
Mike,
yes.
I had a question. I was being sarcastic. I don't even think Sudan and Israel were ever at war. So
no, they've kind of been unofficially talking to each other for a while, but Sudan saw a chance to get itself off the nation sponsor of terror list, and they took it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mike, just a technology question on the Biden scandal. It might be a stupid question, but the 3 phones that were displayed by this gentleman yesterday, I can't remember his name, Bolonsky or something, Bubansky.
Yeah.
What is there any possibility of those phones being remotely hacked and all that information just cleansed from the phones?
If they're turned on, yes. If I were him, I would have taken the batteries out. But I think the fact that they're going to the FBI almost guarantees that what's in there won't be seen. I mean, the FBI has had Hunter Biden's laptop since last December.
Of course.
They didn't mention all of the obvious influence peddling that was revealed by the emails, and they've made absolutely no mention of the more salacious content of the hard drive involving photographs of underage girls, one of whom is a relative of Hunter Biden, and apparently posed with him in some very suggestive pictures.
I thought it was interesting that Frank Luntz, who conducted this this voter session after the debate, Luntz says yes. Most of the voters, most of the undecideds, and most of the voters thought Trump won the debate, but Luntz himself still feels that Biden will win the election.
Yes. Well, I'm still concerned Biden's going to steal the election. I mean, they're not even trying to hide the vote fraud.
That's what I think. I mean, when you look at the crowds, it reminds me of 2016, where there's no excitement on the Biden side. There's no people showing up. And at the Trump rallies, you see these throngs of people, although maybe it was one reference made by the corporate media. They said that his crowds are smaller, but of course you have the COVID this time around. But it just seems like based on excitement and crowd size that Trump should win. But on the other hand, the Biden, while there's no excitement on the Biden side, you could say, well, there's no excitement, therefore they don't have the motivation to go out and vote, but they're voting by mail. So they don't really need that much excitement. They just have that hate and for Trump, which will spur them to vote by mail.
Yeah.
They
I
hate
was
Trump enough
talking.
to vote by mail, but they don't support Biden enough to actually get their butts out to vote in person.
Well, I was talking to somebody earlier today about, some of the local Democrats here, and this person is a Trump supporter, Trump voter, and said, "You literally cannot talk to these people. All they say is Trump is bad, Trump is bad, Trump is bad, Trump is bad. They're like robots." And they're definitely fanatics. And Biden has mentally trapped them. They don't want to admit that the Bidens are corrupt, because if Biden is wrong, it means they were wrong, and they would rather vote this nation into a socialist hell on earth than admit that they were wrong in the first place. Joe, are you there? Joe dropped. All right, let's switch over to Steve Elkins. Hello, Steve. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, I got a legal question for you. I threw it by John last night. He didn't have an answer, and I thought, let's throw it by Mike and see if Mike's got an answer for it. Question is, because so much of the Affordable Care Act is in the news here, that's what's driving a lot of fear. I did my own polling last weekend, and people I found that had the signs in the yard for Biden and Harris had made the statements that the reason they're voting for Biden and Harris is because the Affordable Care Act, they felt that Trump would get rid of it and there'd be nothing in substitute. So that was the fear driving them to vote for those two. So I guess my question was, going back to the actual Affordable Care Act, in that Justice Roberts had made a decision and then reversed his decision. He was first saying it was illegal, then met with Obama, I guess a half an hour to an hour, came back later on and flipped his decision to it's legal. I guess my question is, ever in history, have we ever seen a president go to the Supreme Court after a decision has been made and then a reversal? Because it seems to me it's illegal to do so.
Well,
go meet with the justice.
You have to look at the timeline here, because Roberts had indicated what his decision was going to be, but the decision had not been formally handed down. And Roberts just changed at the absolute last second before the decision came down, and then he immediately went on a week's vacation to dodge reporters.
But has that ever happened in history before, where they're indicating their decision and a president meets with Supreme Court justice to see if he could sway him his way? That ever happened?
I'm not aware of it, which doesn't mean it hasn't happened. But, there's a lot of pressure being put on these judges behind the scenes. And if John Roberts is, in fact, the John Roberts in the flight logs for Jeffrey Epstein's Lolita Express, then they have him on a leash. And that may have been what, Obama did in that half-hour meeting, was say, we got the goods on you. We got the videotape. And you will say that we are legal, or we will destroy your career. And wouldn't be the first time that blackmail is being used as a tool of statecraft. Again, it's one of the reasons why I wish that Ghislaine Maxwell's transcript had not been redacted. They've gone through and blacked out the names of all the guilty to protect the guilty, and I think it's a bad idea.
Well, I agree. I had the same feeling that something in that conversation, whether he benefits in some way, maybe financially, I don't know, some interest there, or there was a blackmail situation, but I never thought about the Lolita Express. What I thought was also, which is a possibility, and just throwing it out there, with these pictures on Hunter Biden's computer here, I wonder, we don't know much about those pictures, not a whole lot about the pictures. They're kind of being hush mouth on that.
Yeah.
But what's the possibility that maybe these pictures tie into Jeffrey Epstein, some relationship there with that whole blackmail scheme? Maybe there's something there with that.
Could be, can't rule it out. Don't know that it's for sure, but everybody, there's a lot of deliberate, poison the well stuff being put out about the pictures. We had a caller call into the show yesterday saying the pictures show Hunter Biden torturing Chinese girls. That's already been exposed as fake news.
Yeah, I figured that one was. I figured that. Not torture, but I wouldn't be surprised with his character flaws. You got to admit, any guy that shacks up with his dead brother's wife and then impregnates a stripper is not a guy of high quality character.
No.
That's it for me, Mike. Have a great show. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go here. The phone lines are open. Area code 512-248-8252. And we're just about 15 minutes away from the lovely Lady Claire here. All right. Getting into the economic news now. Wells Fargo's Mike Mayo alleged yesterday that Goldman Sachs paid a premium in its latest nearly $3 billion settlement, which followed a $2 billion plus settlement with Malaysian authorities earlier this year over some of the financial misdoings regarding the 1MDB case, and they wanted this to go away before the election. Well, it's only 10 days to the election. I don't know that it really worked. Anyway, and I actually got a notice about this myself. PayPal is going to open up their payment network to cryptocurrencies. So that may be a rather interesting way for people to sort of wet their toes, to wade into the world of cryptocurrencies. I did briefly while I was in Hawaii, but then Hawaii passed a law banning cryptocurrencies, so I basically got out. But maybe with PayPal there and being in Indiana, it's time to get back in. All righty. Now, apparently, Polish authorities have fined Russia's Gazprom $7.6 billion for constructing the Nord Stream 2 pipeline to Germany. They're going to be fighting over this one, and I would not be surprised if somebody bombs that thing, because they definitely don't want Russia to be selling oil and gas to Germany and the rest of Europe. So Polish antitrust authorities have claimed Nord Stream 2 is fundamentally a politically motivated attempt to punish Polish consumers while increasing European dependence on Russian exports. Germany has stood by the project even amid the Navalny poisoning affair, which has strained its relations with Russia. And I understand there's a new pipeline that is being rushed through that goes through the southern part of Israel to try and get oil and gas up to the European market. Those pipelines, it's more than just the oil and gas and the cartage fees, if you will. They are strategically, politically important. And we're starting to see that here. Okay, Peter Schiff is out there saying that the United States, specifically the Treasury and the Federal Reserve, actually, is killing off the U.S. dollar with its addiction to ever-increasing doses of monetary heroin, meaning quantitative easing. And, you know, they're out there saying stimulus is good for the economy. Well, it's good to get over the rough bumps, but you can't keep it going permanently, or you start devaluing the dollar, leading to a crash. We'll be in Zimbabwe territory carrying around paper notes saying $100 million on them. Now, getting on to immigration, somebody got really badly embarrassed because during the presidential debate, President Trump said that cartels, gangs, and coyotes were smuggling illegal aliens over the border. So Georgia Democratic State Representative Darshun Kendrick slammed him, saying, how the heck does a coyote bring a whole human across the border? And what State Representative Darshun Kendrick doesn't understand is coyote is a code term for a people smuggler. And it's somebody who will accept money from the illegal immigrants to sneak them across the border. It's usually a 1 or 2 person operation, and they are called coyotes. And not too surprisingly, Darshun Kendrick has been slammed all over social media for just, you know, opening his mouth without knowing what the heck he's talking about, which is unfortunately a Democratic behavior, if you will. The Paris city government has announced it's going to transform the historic former town hall into a reception center for asylum seekers and migrants. They're still moving ahead with this even after the beheading of that teacher. So Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo announced the move on last Sunday, saying the humanitarian mission that was previously located in the notorious Port de la Chapelle area would be moved to the very center of Paris in the vicinity of the world-famous Louvre Museum. I saw a story where apparently some of the world's great museums located on a museum island were victims of a vandalism attack. And I think that was up in Berlin, as a matter of fact. So that's a terrible thing to do. Okay, interesting little article. And this one is coming from allnewspipeline.com. And it goes back to, Columbus Day. And, the natives of North America were basically living their lives peacefully on October 12th, 1492. And basically, they're portrayed as these innocents. We're going to take a break for commercial. We'll be right back after this.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Is your property a financial burden and causing you grief? Have you tried to sell but can't find buyers? Or are you just too busy to sell your property? Don't worry, we have the right solution for you. We buy properties as is, with cash, close in 30 days, and pay all closing costs. Our service is ideal for property owners who are in pre-foreclosure, have high-end repair costs, experiencing financial hardship, going through costly divorces, are relocating, need cash for retirement, suffering family loss, or have tax liens. Whatever your situation may be, we can help you sell your property and get the money you need. If you own a single-family home or multiple family units, call us for a free consultation at 888-910-1037. That's 888-910-1037. Or visit our website at cashingproperty.com. That's cashingproperty.com. Sell your property fast and leave all your worries behind.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The Republic Broadcasting Network late night premiere show of Red Pill Hardcore is hosted by activists that want to hear from you, the listeners. So that you can get involved in the activism, please call in at 800-313-9443 at 10 p.m. to enter the discussion. To book your slot as a guest, call our studio at 202-657-5715 or contact RBN staff. Remember, keep it real and take the Red Pill.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Join Mike on the air. Call toll-free 800-313-9443, 800-313-9443.
Yeah, we got to take that particular intro out of the rotation because the number is now area code 512-248-8252. Now, getting on back to this story that came out of All News Pipeline, basically you have the woke crowd bashing Christopher Columbus for bringing Europeans to the New World, and along with them cruelty, things like slavery. But the historical reality is that some American Indian tribes kept human slaves, and during difficult times, during famine, they would eat them. That's the historical reality. All right, let's grab a phone call now from Joe in Tennessee. Hello, Joe. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, the debate last night really surprised me because the crappy one, the first one was.
Yes.
I thought it was a great debate. I must say, I was prepared to be horrified by the moderator, but she actually did a pretty good job. And, for a lefty, she gave a pretty balanced performance as a moderator, I must say. A lot better than Chris Wallace. And I thought both candidates, especially Trump, but they were, you got an honest view of the candidate. I mean, I don't think, I know Trump was, I really was pleased with Trump because, he showed who he is. I mean, it was Trump, and I don't believe he was really lying to us. I don't think he was like faking like, the neocons do. They try to act populist and they try to act like pro-American and this and that. I think, Trump just laid it out. That's Trump.
Yeah.
So I was actually very pleased with his performance. And Biden, of course, he's got a bad hand to play in that the positions of the left are not popular. So he has to kind of hide his true positions. But in a way, I thought he did a pretty good job for, having a bad hand. And as far as, being an old guy that's sick and all that, I mean, if I was a Democrat, I wouldn't be too upset with his performance neither. But I think the public really did get an opportunity to see, who both the men are. And I think that's a good thing. Like I said, I doubt there are very few people that are undecided now anyway. I do think that Trump really got Joe on the black thing. I think that the black voters are not going to turn out for Joe Biden. And as far as a debate performance, I think it's a suppressor that Trump won more than anything else, because if you're a black Democrat, I can't see you like going out in a rainstorm to vote for Joe Biden. And Trump did a great job in that regard as far as a wedge issue. Whether they vote for Trump or not, they're going to be even less enthusiastic about him than they were for Hillary. And I think Trump did a great job bringing up the crime bill, and also the cages, when he said women in cages, kids in cages, and says, well, you're the ones that build it.
That was a good one. That was definitely a good one.
Yeah. Now, the other quick thing I wanted to mention was the FBI wants to talk to this Tony Bobolinsky or whatever before the Senate. We all know what that means. They'll interview him and then tell him he can't say anything to anybody after they interview him, so they can keep him under wraps. So I hope the Senate gets in there and says, no, we want to interview him first because we know what you do, FBI. You just want to suppress evidence, and we want the evidence first. With their track record of suppressing evidence, the FBI, we all know what they're doing, and that's to get him in and then say all this information is part of an investigation and you're not allowed to talk to anybody.
Joe, we got to let you go. We got to take a break for station identification. We'll be back with the lovely Lady Claire after these few words.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And welcome back to our show, hour number 2. And for those of you watching on YouTube, this gorgeous creature sitting next to me is the lovely Lady Claire, who likes to share the final hour on Fridays with her unique perspective on the world. So what is your first story?
The first story, and I'm probably going to go on a little bit of a rant after this.
Rant away.
I'm so frustrated and I'm so angry at the poorness of our choices every doggone November. This appeared this morning at about 4 o'clock in the morning when I got up. It was the top article on Zero Hedge. And the title reads, Blockbuster Report Reveals How the Biden Family Was Compromised by China. Now, this particular report has been released by a guy by the name of Christopher Balding. He is the associate professor at Beijing University HSBC School of Business, Shenzhen, China. And he's also a Bloomberg contributor, which is a little odd because of the clear anti-Trump bias of the Bloomberg empire, if you will, exposing Biden's activities in China, which the press has refused to cover at all. And NPR has said it's a waste of time.
Yes.
Well, NPR, in having made that statement, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to turn the j'accuse on you. You, NPR, are a complete waste of time for not covering this.
Yes.
And this particular article documents how Joe Biden and the family got absolutely caught up and compromised by the Communist Chinese Party. Now, this is how Balding summarized the report's content in his series of tweets. Apparently, Hunter Biden is partnered with the Chinese state. The entire investment partnership is Chinese state money from Social Security Fund to China Development Bank. It's actually a subsidiary of the Bank of China. And now this is not remotely anything less, folks, than a Chinese state-funded ploy. And though the entire size of the fund can't be reconstructed, the Taiwanese co-founder, who is now detained in China, reports it not to be 1 or 1.5 billion, but $6.5 billion. Let me repeat that number. With a B, 6.5 billion. Now, if in fact these numbers are true, this would make Hunter's stake worth at a minimum at least 50 million if he was going to sell it. Now, disturbingly, everyone on the Chinese side are clearly linked with influence and intelligence organizations because the Chinese government has become very good at creating very innocent-sounding organization names to hide PLA, something like United Front or Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in influence intelligence operations. Now, this report cannot say Hunter was a target of such an operation or that China even targeted him.
Why would they miss that opportunity?
Yeah. However, based on the clear pattern of individuals and organizations surrounding him, it is an entirely reasonable, logical conclusion to draw. Finally, the believed godfather in arranging everything is a gentleman named Yang Jiechi. He is currently the CCP, Communist Chinese Party Director of Foreign Affairs, lead strategist for Americas, and a Politburo member of one of the most powerful men in China and Xi confidant. Now, if you're asking, why the heck does this matter? It matters, folks, because this guy met regularly with Joe Biden during his stint as Chinese ambassador to the US when Biden chaired the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Now, later on, he was appointed Minister of Foreign Affairs when the investment partnership was made official in 2013. And importantly, the Taiwanese National listed MOFA institutions as the key clients in helping to arrange everything. Now, Yang didn't have a problem understanding the importance of Hunter Biden and undoubtedly would have been informed of any dealings. Now, given the fact that he is now the point person in China for dealing with the US, this raises major concerns about a Biden administration being able to deal with China impartially with an individual of this capacity. Now, these are apparently documented facts from Chinese corporate records, and they read like IPO, initial public offering prospectuses, and media. They raise some very valid concerns about Biden's linkages to China. And Mike, if this is true, Joe Biden is a national security risk of unprecedented proportions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If Biden wins the White House, the United States will become a province of mainland China.
Yeah. And I have a little plea for those of you who may still be undecided, but will be going out to vote on November 3rd, and God bless you. I want you to think about this, particularly if you have any children around and in your life, or young people. Mike and I have a wonderful nephew, his brother's son. We have 3 adorable and bright grandnephews we love, one wonderful, bright grandniece who we love very dearly. And you probably all have kids in your family you love. And my question to you is, do you want those children to grow up in a society where the logical and documented criticism of the government becomes criminal? Do you want them to live in a country where there is absolutely no ability to question the official narrative? Do you want them to live in a country where you are looking at the collective, you are looking at insane social surveillance, and your social credit is considered on that? And that means, can you buy a car? Can you buy a house? Can you go to certain schools or not because of your social credit history? Now, if that is what you want, please go ahead and vote for Joe Biden. And if you, like me, looking at the Trump presidency, and there are many areas where President Trump has been a horrific disappointment to both of us. Mike, am I correct? I don't want to speak for you on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please, if you have to, hold your nose and vote for President Trump. The man is far from perfect, and he falls and he fails, but the future and the prognosis of a Biden presidency, folks, this is terrible.
Yes.
Take a look at all of the schools that are inner city schools.
Yes.
Take a look at these Democratic held areas for decades and decades and decades and decades. Are these kids coming out of high school literate, numerate, and logical? Chances are no, because many of the school districts will simply pass and pass and pass a kid, and by the time they graduate from high school, they know nothing. They don't know the basics. They don't know language. They don't know numbers. They don't know logic. They're good at getting propagandized.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? They're good at getting propagandized.
That was the whole Common Core curriculum, was just, submit to authority and believe as you're told.
Yeah, and we see terrible outcomes in many of these schools in Democratic controlled areas. Now, I'm not saying more conservative schools are necessarily better, but in the community where we live, and we live in rural Indiana, the kids here are thoughtful. They're very sweet. They're very cooperative. They look for ways in which to help people. And they're going to be okay. They're either going to go to a trade school where they're going to learn skills that are critical for the 21st century. But in the families that I see around me, and Mike, if you think differently, let me know. In the families that I see around me, I don't see a single family that is on welfare. I don't see generations of families on welfare. And yeah, if something horrible happens and the person needs to be retrained, the job of their life went away, you retrain them. You make sure they have food on the table. You give them a boost to give them another start in life.
Yes.
But generational welfare? Where did that even get started that it was okay in this country?
Well, out in California is my experience.
Yeah.
You know, and another thing about this part of the country, there's a lot of homeschooling going on.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of homeschooling going on.
And a lot of these people, and I've talked to them because some of them attend my church, or I attend their church. We attend a church that we like. But a lot of them feeling that they're fighting a lot of the popular culture, what is getting normalized. And especially for very much younger kids, they're not comfortable with it. And I can kind of understand why, you know. But the kids who have had an opportunity to grow up in these schools are going to be fine because at the end of the day, they will be logical, literate, and numerate.
Yes, they'll have the basic skills needed to move forward. I mean, if you look at the academic achievement scores of Americans versus other countries, we're definitely in decline. And that's because our educational system isn't really about education anymore, so much as indoctrination.
Yeah.
You know, with critical race theory and human caused global warming, and, you know, it's okay to have, drag queen story hour in the children's library,
and live shooter drills, by the way. Let's
live
not
shooter
forget
drills.
that.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot imagine.
I'm okay with a live shooter drill as long as I'm allowed to shoot back.
Dear.
Okay.
No, we're talking about terrifying children.
Yes.
And getting them so horrified about going to school, they may not want to go back.
Well, the goal is to get them terrified of guns.
Yeah.
So that they don't learn how to use guns, and that way they're less of a threat to the powers that think they are.
Yeah. And we know how to present an education that's going to really reach kids, teach them. The Kumon schools. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. It's a small, I believe it's a franchise.
Yes.
Yes. But guess what? They've got it nailed, as do other private school systems and maybe a few magnet schools around. But they find out where the kid is.
Yeah.
They reach them where that kid is, and they give them a success experience.
Yes.
Nothing succeeds like success in education, and nothing fails objectively like failure. So if you can get a kid excited, they want to come back to school the next day. They don't feel like they're an interchangeable cog in a large machine, which is the way a lot of public schools run. And you can't do it. You know, you just can't do it. But of course, people who teach in the Kumon schools, the Montessori schools, the Waldorf schools, what do they have in common?
Tell us.
Not unionized.
Yes.
Which means if you have an horrendous teacher, he or she goes. If it can be proven and documented, they're not living up to the standards the school wants to present to those kids, but they're not unionized.
Yes.
And
that was one of the biggest disasters for public education, was unionizing the teachers. It turned a profession into a trade.
Yeah. And in certain unionized school districts, if you know your kid is getting a bad break from a teacher, getting that teacher fired or at least retrained or something is nigh unto impossible. And you're the bad person for bringing it up in the first place.
That's true.
Yeah. Let's get back to China. Now, I'd like to, this is a companion article and it comes from antiwar.com. This is a blog also. I'd like all of you who maybe haven't seen it to take a look. It's very sober-sided. I like the way they write. They are very fact-based. And they have an article, by the way, from Hunter's ex-partner, Tony Bobulinski. Joe Biden's a liar, and here's the proof. Now, Hunter Biden's ex-business associate, Tony Bobulinski, accused Democratic nominee Joe Biden of lying about his involvement in his family's overseas dealing in a stunning appearance just 90 minutes before Thursday evening's presidential debate. And Bobulinski is quoted as saying, "I have heard Joe Biden say that he has never discussed his dealings with Hunter. That is false. I have firsthand knowledge about this because I directly dealt with the Biden family, including Joe Biden," Bobulinski has said following the Post bombshell report on Hunter emails, private emails. Now, Bobulinski was a guest of President Trump at the debate, and he showed 3 phones spanning 2015 to 2018 as evidence and said he would be meeting with the Senate and FBI to hand over the electronics. Hey, based on what you said, Michael, and what your caller said earlier,
Yeah.
I'm not sure this is the swiftest idea
No,
right now.
it's not. He's
Yeah.
trying to play by the rules, and
Yeah.
he probably is, hot for Jodie Foster, and that therefore, Silence of the Lambs. He
Oh.
thinks the FBI are the good people.
Okay. Now, this guy, Bobulinski, is a U.S. Navy veteran. I have a
Yes.
great respect for our Navy. We happen to have a family member serving, and God bless her. He said he was introduced to the former Veep on May 2nd, 2017, by Hunter Biden and the lawmaker's brother, Jim Biden, before the Global Milken Conference in Beverly Hills. That night, he said, we discussed the Biden's history, the Biden family's plans with the Chinese, with which he was plainly familiar, at least at a high level, he said in Memphis, Tennessee, ahead of last night's debate. And he also made this observation: I have no wish to marry anyone. I have never been political. The few contributions I've made have been to Democrats. Irony of irony. But what I am is a patriot and a veteran, and to protect my family name and my business reputation, I need to ensure that the true facts are out there, he said, battling away accusations that he was a part of a misinformation plot. Now, Bobulinski came forward earlier Thursday to corroborate emails revealed exclusively by the Post last week about the Biden family's murky overseas dealings in China involved with both Hunter Biden and Uncle Jim Biden. Now, the U.S. Navy veteran accused former Vice President Biden of being directly involved in a plot to make millions of dollars, identifying him as, quote unquote, the big guy in the May 3rd, 2017 email. And I think we really need to think this election, and we need to pull down, and we need to center.
Yes.
And we need to stay away from stuff that is not true. I mean, this computer exists, this laptop exists, these phones exist.
Yes.
Okay? And either this is hard evidence, which I would say it is, Mike. Your thoughts?
Well, I'd like to see more of the actual evidence itself.
Yeah, I would too.
And I'm I'm sort of anticipating that some of the more salacious content of the hard drives will start to go public first part of next week.
Yeah.
Timed to have the maximum impact
Yeah.
on the voters who will vote on November 3rd.
Yes.
Although I think something like 50 million Americans have already voted absentee or by mail.
Yeah.
So those ballots are already in there. But there's
Right.
still a lot of people who have not yet voted. And between this emerging Biden scandal and last night's presidential debate, it's
Yeah.
entirely possible that a lot of people are going to change their minds about who they're voting for. And the fact that Trump documented Biden's lies about fracking, I think that's going to have a tremendous impact on people because it's certainly sending the image that Biden cannot be trusted.
Yeah.
That
Absolutely.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. This election, it's so funny and so ironic. I have heard Michelle Obama, who is a lady for whom I have a lot of respect. I do respect the Obamas from a standpoint of being great role models for kids who want to get somewhere in life.
Mhm.
Their parents were very careful with them and said, you will go to college, you will get educated, and you will have a profession. I respect that. I wish all parents had that kind of drive to instill a desire to work hard.
I think probably the vast majority of parents
Mhm.
do want their children to grow up
Mhm.
and have a better life than the parents themselves did.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work out,
No.
especially in this day and age.
Right.
All right, we're going to take a break here for commercials. We'll be back with more of the lovely Lady Claire after these two words.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, the majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper doesn't give out the important attention of what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and
Welcome back to our show here, and lovely Lady Claire, what is your next story?
Well, the next story is China blasting the U.S. as empire of hacking after damning NSA report spotlights Beijing. Now, apparently, Mike, earlier this week, the NSA released a cybersecurity advisory, which focused on attempts of Chinese state-backed hackers to gain access to IT property, coronavirus research, advanced technologies, or political and or military information. Now, the advisory that came out of the NSA identified vulnerabilities in US systems that have recently been leveraged or scanned for by Chinese state-sponsored cyber actors. For example, the bugs in software like Microsoft Windows,
of which there are many.
Yes, or Citrix systems. But now China's foreign ministry has slammed this report, calling out the spy agency's hypocrisy and shining a light on vast US domestic surveillance exposed years ago by Edward Snowden. The ministry spokesman, Zhao Lingjian, on Wednesday slammed the US as an empire of hacking and specifically cited the 2013 Snowden revelations. And it's ironic that the main actor in PRISM and the largest cyber theft agency in the world is criticizing others for cyber theft. The NSA spies and attacks US allies, uses advantages, and exploits loopholes for espionage. And apparently, I'd like your thoughts on this. We are among the worst offenders in terms of mass surveillance.
Well, yes, definitely there is. I mean, it goes back to the days of total information awareness. And of course, you know, what the NSA does is hacking. In fact, Kaspersky Labs identified the NSA as being behind the Equation group of hackers.
Okay.
And it is certainly hypocritical, all the more so because, and the people at the NSA have to know this, okay, how do they know it's Chinese hackers? There may be a machine in China that's being used to launch the attacks, but that doesn't mean that maybe somebody in France or Germany or Great Britain has not hacked into that Chinese machine to redirect it. In fact, some of the more successful hacks involve whole networks of machines daisy-chained together to try and obscure you know, who the actual original hacker is. But this is a common propaganda technique that we see whenever we hate somebody. Oh, we hate China. Oh, we hate Russia. Russia's hacking us. They're hacking elections. You know, Iran is hacking us. They're hacking our elections. And yet, of course, every country on earth with access to the internet is involved in some kind of cyber espionage against both friend and foe alike.
Yeah. Spy versus spy, sort of.
Yes.
Yes, from Mad Magazine.
Only with keyboards.
Yes. And what's unfortunate and frustrating is that, you know, both countries are doing this in a very big way. Yes, we just had a little bit of a...
Yeah, we just had a flash of lightning through the back window here. So if we lose power, you know why.
Yes, definitely.
Whoa,
now we just heard thunder.
Yes, we heard the thunder.
The next thing I want to talk about is apparently Russian destroyers are escorting Iranian tankers in the Mediterranean amidst US and UK threats. Now, apparently, a new report says that Iranian fuel tankers are being escorted by Russia's military to prevent a high seas intercept or detention by American or Allied vessels, as happened in 2019 with the Grace 1 off Gibraltar. And apparently what they're doing is they're turning off their transponders. I think that's the correct term.
Yes.
The transponders show where they are. I mean, in terms of latitude and longitude, where they are in the ocean.
Yes.
And apparently the tanker Sama entered the Mediterranean Sea via the Suez. And after a few miles, the 900-foot-long ship stopped reporting its position and destination. And apparently it was sailing to Syria, escorted by 2 Russian Navy ships, including a destroyer. And Mike, one thing that really bothers me is how US foreign policies push people we allegedly shouldn't like in countries we shouldn't like together.
Yes.
Which seems to be happening now between Iran and Russia.
Absolutely. And, you know, of course, the United States is arbitrarily declaring itself Lord of the high seas and grabbing any ships that they say have Iranian or Venezuelan oil or gasoline going back and forth. And of course, it's very dangerous for the Russians to be escorting these ships because that could lead to an actual exchange of you know, naval gunfire or missiles, and we'd be off and running. So it's definitely edging toward a crisis.
Yeah. Do you think that crisis is going to happen before the end of calendar 2020?
It could, but I'll tell you, in all honesty, I think the United States and the world will be involved in a truly major global conflict sometime next year. It just doesn't seem like the world can continue on this path, that the United States can continue on this path without triggering off a major conflagration. Okay, we got to take another break for commercials. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. Nikki, great product. Have to try it for a few months to see results. After taking Extendovite for about 6 months, I have noticed improvement on the numbness of my hands and wrists from carpal tunnel. I will continue to buy the product. Ken Peaks, 5 out of 5 stars. Works as advertised. This formula is very powerful. Be careful to follow directions. I am feeling much better. My heart rate and blood pressure has stabilized and my lower edema has reduced. Lower leg pain due to blood clots has disappeared. Thank you. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Hello, I'm Dr. Leonard Horowitz. I was right 30 years ago in warning the world about threatening lab virus outbreaks, AIDS, and Ebola. I was right 20 years ago when FBI Director Robert Mueller made me a suspect in the anthrax mailings because I warned the Bureau before the CIA's biocrime and Cipro sales psyops happened. I was right about COVID-19 being an AIDS-laced mutagen planned to resurge this fall to excuse officials' profitable depopulation globalization agendas. And I was right about the only safeguards being antioxidants and holy spiritual sustenance. Vitamin C, D, zinc, chlorophyll, oxygen, and oxysilver especially transmits the frequency resonance to neutralize the expanded function bioweapon. Oxysilver is a double superconductor of the healing power of love. It is the first nutraceutical invented to amplify prayer power and the faithful, loving intention of your heart. Buy, try, and stockpile Oxysilver through healthyworldstore.com.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened?
And welcome back to our show here, and we are well and truly underneath a thunderstorm right now. In fact, we just had the emergency channel activate on the cable TV system saying, "You're toast, you're toast, you're toast."
It wasn't quite that bad.
Well, it wasn't quite that bad,
No,
but yeah, we're in for some colorful weather
Yes.
for the next couple of hours, I think,
Right.
probably for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
And anyway, before we lose our electricity, do you have another story for us?
Oh, I have several. Thank you.
Okay, well, let's go for it.
Yeah. Turkey has decided to kick up the Nagorno-Karabakh kerfluffle up a notch
Mm-hmm.
because Turkey is now vowing to send national troops, Turkish troops, to help Azerbaijan if requested. Now, among the very concerns of major regional powers in the neighborhood in the Caucasus, like Russia and Iran, is that the ongoing war between Azerbaijan and Armenia in the Karabakh region might spill over into a broader regional conflict that could become internationalized. In Iran's case, they've been dealing with errant missiles and mortar fire from the fighting, and some of these missiles are now routinely crossing the border and landing on Iranian soil, and sometimes, terrifyingly enough, on civilian areas.
Not a good idea.
No, really double plus, ungood. Now, in Russia's case, the Kremlin does have a mutual defense pact with Armenia in the case of national war, and yet very few direct national security interests would be reasons enough to get involved militarily. And yet, what is probably the most scary is Turkey's continued bellicose and jingoistic stance when it comes to aggressive verbal and political support for its tiny ally, Azerbaijan, through the past weeks of fighting over the self-declared autonomous border region. Now, on Wednesday, Turkish Vice President Fuat Oktay gave a forceful statement and made a promise which probably raised a few eyebrows from Tehran to Moscow to Washington, saying that if requested, Turkey is willing to send ground troops to the Karabakh region in support of Azerbaijan. The Turkish vice president said this in an interview with CNN Turk, and this is the quote: "Turkey will not hesitate to send soldiers and provide military support for Azerbaijan if such a request is made by Baku," which is the capital of Azerbaijan, according to a Reuters translation and paraphrase. Now, Reuters went a step further in describing the ultra-provocative comments, and they described it in this way. Speaking in an interview with broadcaster CNN Turk, Otkay also criticized the OSCE's Minsk group formed to mediate the conflict, led by France, Russia, and the US, of trying to keep the issue unresolved and supporting Armenia both politically and militarily. Now, one thing this guy did underscore, however, is that there has not been a request made yet for Turkey to do this. Now, it's no doubt that Baku also has an interest in not seeing a broader war with Armenia expand beyond the contested border zone, because, Mike, it could trigger both Russian and Iranian intervention if Turkey's army formally enters. Now, Mike, I'd like to ask your thought. Russia has a military pact, defense pact with Armenia, and Israel has been selling weapons to Azerbaijan. Would we not see the U.S. on Azerbaijan's side in this mess to spite Russia? Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Whatever side Israel's on, that's the side that the United States will be on.
Yeah.
Russia is actually already supplying some military hardware.
Mhm.
There was that story we ran earlier in the week about a bunch of MiG, I think it was MiG 29s
Mhm.
that were seen at an airfield
Yeah.
in Armenia.
Mhm.
So,
And we also have a companion piece article also from Zero Hedge with the following headline, which is more than a little worrying. Apparently, Armenia has launched ballistic missiles on Azerbaijan amid retreat in Nagorno-Karabakh region. And yesterday morning, Armenian forces launched ballistic missiles at targets inside the territory of Azerbaijan. Now, according to the Azerbaijani Defense Ministry, 3 missiles were fired in the direction of the Sizyansan region, 2 in the direction of the Gabala region, and 1 in the direction of Kurdamir region. Baku also stated that the strike was aimed at the civilian population and civilian infrastructure. Now, we don't have any details, but Armenian forces have so far only employed R-17 Elbrus and OTR-21 Tokta missiles. The Armenian armed forces have also several much more modern 9K720 Iskander short-range ballistic missile systems. But the complex has not yet been employed because the leadership of Armenia is in no hurry to enter a full-out war with Azerbaijan to protect the Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, also known as the Republic of Artsakh. Now, the Armenian Defense Ministry denounced the reports as fake, but it should be noted that Yerevan was also denying a ballistic missile strike on the Azerbaijani city of Ganja on October 16th, a strike which killed and injured several dozen civilians. Later, Armenian resources spent a lot of time marking military objects located in the cities on maps. However, the civilian casualties from that strike are the confirmed fact. In turn, Azerbaijan claimed that it has destroyed at least 3 Armenian tactical ballistic complexes. A few of them were struck on the Armenian border near Karabakh. Now, Mike, one of the most terrifying things to me in this whole situation is that the US and NATO have not kicked Turkey out of NATO yet.
No, they haven't.
If
Tulsi Gabbard is trying to get them
yes,
to do that.
God bless her for that.
Yes.
Now, if Turkey gets attacked before the US and the other NATO members kick it out, Turkey can invoke Article 5 of
Yes.
the NATO Convention. Mike, would you explain to people what this means?
Well, basically, Article 5 is the part of the NATO treaty, if you will, that says when one NATO nation is attacked, it's perceived as an attack on all of them, and all of the nations will basically gang up on whoever started this, even though it's Turkey.
Mhm.
And yeah, it would basically open the door to what was described as the internationalized regional conflict.
Yeah.
And, you know, the beginnings of a real World War III.
Yeah. And I think back to World War I and how much of this was driven by defense treaties.
Yes.
And
Well, that's why George Washington said,
Yeah.
you know, beware of foreign entanglements.
Yeah. You know, this is, what was it that Casey Stengel used to say? Deja vu all over again.
Yes, very much so.
And I'm praying that some of the adults in the room, Sergei Lavrov, can you hear me, please, are working the phones. and saying,
I'm sure Russia's bugged our computer here and they can hear us just fine.
That's okay. I say nothing that ever advocates violence or any bad stuff, so they can listen away.
Hi, Vlad. How about a chess game?
Oh, that would be interesting.
He'd clean my clock. I haven't played in years. Ever since my iPhone started beating me at chess.
Oh, that must have been a terrible moment, dear.
Yeah, I won't accept that kind of upstart behavior from appliances.
I hear you.
Okay.
Now, we have a new situation with Iran, and Washington...
We actually covered this one in our number 1.
Did.
Yes, I
okay,
did.
then I
We don't
will...
need to
No, we don't
impose
need
on their
to
ears.
belabor with
No,
that.
we don't. We don't.
Okay.
And scrolling on down
Yes,
here.
which I am.
Okay.
And Mike, okay.
Oh, yeah.
This is a very interesting development. Apparently, Walmart is redesigning airport-style stores that will track everyone.
Yes.
Claiming that a Walmart app can magically protect customers from getting COVID-19, and it's disingenuous and obscures the real reason why they want the customers to use them. Now, I'm going to be honest here. On occasions, we are Walmartians.
Yes.
We make that pilgrimage because the prices are very competitive.
And actually, there's nothing else around here.
Yeah.
We're in the boonies with a capital boo.
Yes, we are. And I find the prices and the quality of stuff. You can get what you want if you know where to look and how to find it.
Yes.
Now, there is amazingly enough a CNN article which does a great job of explaining why Walmart is redesigning their stores. So they're pushing to get more people to download its app and use it while shopping. And Walmart is encouraging shoppers to download it prior to entering to assist in navigating the store, searching for more options online, and paying when finished. Now, besides using Walmart Pay to direct customers to the exact location of items in the store, It has added the benefits of tracking customers' cell phones.
Think Minority Report in the shopping center.
Someone make 1984 fiction again, please, Lord. And you've seen a lot of terms of use, right?
Yes.
And we've all clicked yes and blah, 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 blah. Now, the Walmart terms of use link spells out exactly how little Walmart actually cares about protecting you and yourselves during COVID-19. And in this terms of use, it says you authorize your wireless operator, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, US Cellular, Verizon, or any other branded wireless operator to disclose to Walmart and its third-party service providers your mobile number, name, address, email, network status, customer type, customer role, billing type, mobile device identifiers, IMSI or IMEI, and other subscriber status and device details, if available, solely to verify your identity and prevent fraud during the duration of the business relationship.
I'm sorry, that's a little bit too much of a grab here.
Yeah.
I'm an old guy and I prefer the old-fashioned way. Go into a store, find what you want, pay cash for it. Everybody goes home happy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. This is a bridge too far for me.
Yes.
I will probably go into Walmart because, as you said, there's nothing else around. Because I can find stuff that I need and I can find it in a little bit better bulk. And folks,
yeah, but they're not forcing people to use this app, and we can just say we're not interested in it.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet. Okay.
Well, I've got a couple of old used up iPhones here. We could put fake identities on them.
That would be interesting.
All right.
But apparently, going on with this, once a customer gives a company like Walmart access to their phone's mobile device identifiers or connects through Walmart's Bluetooth beacon, it becomes very easy to identify each and every customer. So what they're doing, Mike, is they're combining CCTV surveillance footage. And I've looked up at those little cameras.
There's a lot of cameras on.
And
Walmart's got more TV cameras than CBS.
I think so, yeah. And point of sale surveillance footage, along with a detailed description of what each customer purchased. It would be very easy for Walmart to build a real-time database of every customer that walks in their store.
Yes.
Now, I don't know how terrifying that is to you, but to me, yeah.
It's a little scary. Like I said, it's Minority Report.
Yeah, writ large. And a link to Walmart's term of use payment section regarding their app spells out in caps how they are not at all liable for any misuse, can we say hacking, of their apps.
Yeah.
And under no circumstances and under no legal or equitable theory, whether in tort, contract, strict liability, or otherwise, shall Walmart or any of its affiliates, employees, directors, officers, agents, vendors, or suppliers be liable to you or any other person for any indirect, special, incidental, or consequential losses or damages of any nature arising out of or in connection with the use of or inability to use the Walmart application.
Yeah, you can tell there was a lawyer who was writing that one.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, I'm not getting this app.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And they're also saying that Walmart is not liable for any computer health malfunctions that might affect their apps and their customers. Now, even if an authorized representative of Walmart has been advised of or should have known of the possibility of such damages, this is getting draconian in the extreme.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
They're basically saying, our app is going to rip off all your personal information. It could malfunction, could screw up your computer, and whatever happens to you, it's all your fault and we're not to blame. Anyway, let's go ahead and grab ourselves a phone call.
Okay.
Glenn in Philadelphia. Hello, Glenn. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Hello, Mike. Hello, Claire.
Hello.
About Turkey being a NATO member, and I guess it is commendable that Tulsi Gabbard is trying to have them, expelled from NATO. But even if they were not, I would hope that, such an august body of scholars and politicians and statesmen would certainly be able to, discern the fact, that one of their members was behaving as an aggressor and having brought the wrath of another nation down on itself, would not necessarily be entitled to, unconditional support from NATO as allies, basically that this would normally entail someone being attacked by an aggressor, and that they would determine that is indeed what happened. I would hope so. So I would think that just mere membership in NATO wouldn't necessarily entitle them to everyone piling on their behalf.
Well, it's not so much that the other nations would feel compelled to pile on behalf of Turkey, so much as they're looking for an opportunity to get into the fight and divide up the spoils.
Because there's a lot of oil and a lot of oil that transits Azerbaijan. And in fact, if I remember correctly, Phil, Turkey is advocating for Azerbaijan to become part of NATO.
Yes.
They're in Central Asia. I mean, what's wrong with this picture? Everything.
Well, NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And now all of a sudden, they're looking at Azerbaijan, which does not border the Atlantic, I might add.
Not last time I checked a map.
Nope.
But I would like to hope that sane heads prevail. But right now, I turned 71 my last birthday, and I am seeing more of a massive insanity internationally than I've seen in a long time.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like the United States would have any trouble welching on a defense agreement. Just ask Chiang Kai-shek or the people of modern Taiwan.
Or Vladimir Putin. Okay, Glenn, we got to take a break for commercials. We got to let you go. Back with the last segment of our program after these few words.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We have a special promotion going on at Republic Broadcasting. This is a fundraiser for Republic Broadcasting involving the Energy Cleaner. Mail me a postcard. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. We pick a postcard every other Thursday. When your postcard is drawn out, you get to buy an Energy Cleaner for $215 instead of $285, $70 discount. $200 goes to Republic Broadcasting. You also get a 10% discount on my mattress pads. So get those postcards in, put your name, your telephone number, your email address on there, and when your postcard is drawn, you get an Energy Cleaner for $215 instead of $285. Mattress pads, 10% off. Help us out at Republic Broadcasting and help yourself to get an Energy Cleaner at a deep discount. It's a win-win situation for everybody. We hope you can get these postcards in soon. Thank you very much.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. Amazon customer, 5 out of 5 stars. I'm quite happy about it. This product has relieved what appears to be an angina problem, pain in the chest after climbing stairs, and short on breath. I'm quite happy about it. Dr. Sam Surreal. Good product and ingredients. Kept my blood pressure normal after mild heart attack in 2015. Switched to plant-based diet also to reverse atherosclerosis. John Bispicos, 5 out of 5 stars. Built up my immune system. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company? And it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks.
When pigs fly!
The new Ease-Off Model Easy 4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The Ease-Off lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
Sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the Ease-Off? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit. How can I order my Ease Off? Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry because we are offering $200 off on the new Easy 4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows too. Ease Off LLC, Somersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
Well, they're stealing down on Wall Street and in Washington too. You know, it makes me wonder, what's a guy on Main Street to do? I've always tried to be an honest, upstanding kind of guy. But I must admit lately, I thought about giving something else a try. Oh, I want to be a pirate. I want to sail the 7 seas. Yeah, I want to be a pirate.
Welcome back to our show here. The last segment on this Pow on a Friday. And Lady Love, take it away.
Well, the one thing you have to give, love him or hate him, you've got to give Russia's Putin high marks for timing.
Yes.
Because what he has just done, Russia has just given Edward Snowden permanent residency and a path to Russian citizenship. And it was a calculated blow, finding the newest high level of allegations of Russian interference in the upcoming presidential election.
A little tit for tat.
Yeah, Moscow was formally granted whistleblower and former NSA analyst Edward Snowden permanent residency rights. Now, the 38-year-old who fled where he was working on Oahu and entered Hong Kong in 2013, as some of the most damning parts of the trove of leaks were published in the media, eventually landed in Russia while being pursued by the U.S. authorities. And he said a long time that he wanted to go somewhere in Central or Latin America, but ended up kind of stuck in Russia. Now, that's about to change because his lawyer has announced yesterday this change of status, which puts him on a path to Russian citizenship if he wants it. Now, if he were to choose to do it, it would not do well for any potential legal defense in the U.S. should he ever return. Now, Mike, I think chances of Snowden's returning are the chances of an ice cube surviving.
Slim and none. Yeah,
in the dark places.
Yes.
Yes. And Snowden's lawyer, Anatoly Kuncharenko, told Reuters that Snowden's Russian residency permit was expiring, and we asked to extend it after he was initially granted asylum by the Russian government. And we got the documents in April and apparently the permanent residency rights on Thursday, the guy's lawyer said. And now one thing his lawyer denied, and this was interesting, is that Snowden would actually actively pursue Russian citizenship. From Russia, Snowden has been active in continuing to highlight the abuses of the U.S. national security state, authoring a book and giving frequent media interviews. So timing with Putin
absolutely
is amazing, very ironic, right
Yes.
before this election.
Well, it was in revenge for this, report out there saying that, Russia's hacking us, Russia, and both Russia and China are absolutely correct. It's the ultimate hypocrisy for the United States with the NSA to be out there pointing the fingers at anybody else. The NSA is projecting.
Yes.
And so, you've got the Five Eyes working, to spy on all of us and, evade the laws that guarantee our privacy, like the Fourth Amendment.
Yes.
And they go around saying, we're not spying on you. Great Britain's spying on you. It's legal for them to do that under British law. We're just trading the information back and forth. So, all right, there's our music. It is time to call an end to the show. Please stay tuned for John Stedmiller. I'm sure he's got lots of interesting things to share with you. Spread the word of Republic Broadcasting. Spread the word of whatreallyhappened.com. Please continue to donate. We need you to stay on the air doing what we're doing. We'll be back on Monday. Aloha, America.